Welcome to Ghost Recon Wildlands. I don't think I've ever posted a video for this game on the channel, but after playing the Red Patriot third episode of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I decided to make this video because a lot of players have always said they much prefer Ghost Recon Wildlands. I mentioned in my recent Division 2 video that I'd be doing this one, and this one won't be anywhere near as long as that one because I've only actually played several hours over the lifetime of this game. But these pros for Ghost Recon Wildlands over Breakpoint come from about 20 minutes of playing, maybe half an hour at the most. And there are 5 of them which make a huge change. And I'm just going to make the point as I've always been making. Why don't they ever expand on the foundation they make with these first games? Ubisoft and their sequels, besides the Assassin's Creed franchise, don't really seem to do that well. Watch Dogs 2, I don't believe was liked or loved or whatever anywhere near as much as Watch Dogs 1. I really hope they do a good job with Watch Dogs Legion because Ghost Recon Breakpoint and the Division 2 actually caused Rainbow Six Quarantine, Gods and Monsters, which is now Immortals Phoenix Rising, and Watch Dogs Legion to be delayed. So with the huge delay, because it was about a year delay, if Watch Dogs Legion comes out and it sucks, then I don't know what's really left for Ubisoft as a company. I can't see them going too much further, but all the sequels for the Tom Clancy name just seem to get worse and worse. Besides, as I said, Assassin's Creed Rainbow Six Siege is probably the best Rainbow Six, like according to a lot of players. I've never really been into that side of the franchise. But there are a lot of problems with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. A lot of stuff that they shouldn't have changed through Wildlands. They should have just kept it the same because a lot of people will say that, oh, they're nothing to do with each other. But Breakpoint is actually a sequel to Ghost Recon Wildlands. They should have made Wildlands 2. And we're going to start off. There are only 5 points I've written down, but there is a huge map on Ghost Recon Wildlands. And as well as being filled up with side missions, because to get a skill point, it's not as simple as just going, leveling up or going to the secret area, you get a skill point. You have to go to these areas, you have to grab your skill point, but then you also need either, gas, food, or something like that. You need to go and do other side missions in order to pick up the required resources to use your skill point. So let's just go with ammo capacity, because I actually increased it whilst I was playing. I needed to have 4 skill points, but at the same time have 3,500 gas. So I had to go do this side mission where I needed to be, play a little bit more tactical, be a little bit more stealthy, and go and steal a helicopter and deliver it to a drop-off point. And I had to be tactical and stealthy because if I got spotted and I wasn't quick enough, the enemies there would just jump into the chopper, fly off, and I've lost that gas. I don't know if it respawns or anything like that, but that's how it works. So I had to go pick up a skill point, I had to go get some gas, and then I was able to increase my ammo capacity. So there's a lot of depth to it. But as well as the side missions, the skill points, the other things you can do, there are tons of bosses. It's split up into so many different regions, and each of these regions has a boss in the region. So there is a lot to do in this game compared to Breakpoints. Go and do a couple of side missions, go and do main missions, story over, you've got nothing left to do. Next up, and I don't know how they managed to mess this one up, for some reason in Ghost Recon Wildlands, there are so much better driving mechanics. It felt probably 100 times smoother driving vehicles in Wildlands as what it did in Breakpoint. I think one of their downfalls is you have a lot of vehicles, you have Humvees, dirt bikes and stuff, you have them in both games. But in Ghost Recon Wildlands, the world is so much more open, and in Breakpoint you'll notice there's a lot of forest areas. There's a lot more overgrowth of Aurora as to what there is in Wildlands, so it might be because there are more main roads and stuff that it's easier to drive, but not only that, the actual control of the vehicles seems so much smoother. Then we have the fact that the guns feel more realistic. There is so much more kick to them and it actually feels like you're using a powerful gun. The same differences as it was the Division 1 to the Division 2. There's a lot more kick. You actually feel powerful. There's a lot more depth to the bullets coming out of the gun hitting the enemy, dealing the damage. It feels on a much better, more realistic sort of state. And then next up we have the fact that you can change your loadout on the fly. You can select your weapons and all that sort of stuff. You can do it whenever you want if you go into the menus, like you have your map, you've got your skill tree, and then you've got your loadout, you can actually just change weapons whenever you feel like it. You don't need to go and rest at a bivouac. With the gear score version of Breakpoint, you was able to change your weapons, but with the immersive mode, they took all of that out. You just have like the blueprints, you have to go to a bivouac to change your weapons. That is so irritating, it didn't need to be put into the game. So that is another pro in the favour of Wildlands. And then the last thing is it feels so much more tactical just when you're doing side missions alone. You have the same drone ability, you've got suppressors and stuff on your guns, so you can play it in a similar way, and the gameplay itself might be smoother in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but it feels a lot better. The enemies' placement seems better. I mean, all Tom Clancy games really, the AI just seem to be incredibly dumb. But it feels a better experience, and the graphics aren't too bad on the older games. If you take away the fluid movement from both Breakpoint and The Division 2, I would actually say both Ghost Recon Wildlands and The Division 1 are the better games. The originals are the better, and it always seems to happen, even with movies. You always see the originals performing better than the sequels. I don't know what it is, but whenever they make a next installment in a series, it just seems to get worse and worse. But they've also put in a lot more effort that they didn't need to put in because they changed so much stuff. They could have simply just kept the foundations they created with Wildlands and The Division 1 and just expanded on them, because it would have been a much better experience. There are probably a lot of pros for Breakpoint, but from my experience, as I said, in a very short amount of time, I personally felt that Wildlands had a lot more pros than it did cons against Ghost Recon Breakpoint. But on that note, we're going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff and how you feel about it in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.